So we'll start with a client in one of my readings, Connecting Across the Veil. I always ask, and I recommend if you're doing readings, you do the same thing. What is your intention? Sometimes people don't want to hear from their loved ones. In this case, my client said, I know who I want to hear from, but I'm going to just trust how it unfolds. I heard that and I thought, this is the perfect client, because that's exactly the perfect attitude. If you're ever a sitter or client in a reading, yeah, hold the intention that you hear from specific loved ones, but trust spirit. As a medium, as a spirit communicator, that is the attitude we all want to have. That, yeah, my client may have specific people in mind, but I'm just going to trust spirit however it unfolds. So this was very interesting. Right away, I sensed a male in front of me who was a partner, but I knew it wasn't her husband, and then sensed a child across the veil. Just could tell both of them were standing there waiting. And again, I knew it wasn't her husband, but I was confused about who this was. And she just jumped right in and said, well, it's my ex-husband. Well, clearly he was there because he showed up right away handing her daisies. I love when I can specifically tell what flower it is. I see lots of imagery, don't always see the people, but the daisies were clear. And it turns out when they first started dating, she said to him, you don't need to be spending a lot of money on me for flowers, so don't ever give me roses. So instead, from the very beginning of their relationship, he gave her daisies. That was his thing. So isn't that brilliant of those across the veil to know exactly what to show to identify who it is right away? She said, yes, I do have a son across the veil. She blurted out his name was Ryan, but then the ex-husband across the veil said to her, Rai is here. And I got goosebumps already. There they go. Not even 5 minutes into this, and we got the goosebumps. Rai is exactly what they called him. So beautiful validation. Now to show the cleverness of those in spirit, then Ryan over here said to me in my mind, go talk to my mom's sister. I had not yet sensed the sister here with us in the session, but I told her this and I said, well, you clearly must have a sister across the veil. And she did. But you see, this is interactive. For anybody who's skeptical about this, it's not just pulling data out of the air. This is the son across the veil saying, hey, go talk to my mom's sister. And then she has one. If it were just data, you might be just picking up the word sister, but this is somebody actually telling me that. So it was really interesting how I was able to tune into that sister's personality and really detail what she was like, so that my client, her sister, said, yeah, that's absolutely her. And then I said, this is really funny because I know she must have bowled, because she's pulling back her arm and pretending to be bowling. And she says, go back to Ryan for a strike. In bowling, strike is knocking all the pins down. And we went back over to Ryan and got more good information from him. So see the cleverness there, very clever. And so it just flowed like that. And that's exactly what any of us who do spirit communication want to happen. Just have that flow and not be stuck. Well, I just have to talk to your son for a while. Now I have to talk to this man. No, they across the veil were guiding it. He said, go talk to the sister. Then she rolls a bowling ball over to him to show that she liked to bowl, evidence. And then, but why don't you go back and talk to him for a while? So it was really a fun reading. Near the end, I said to my client, your son, Ryan, just handed you a lollipop. And I could see it specifically. I don't remember what they're called, but those kind that are really a round ball on top, not a disc, and wrapped with paper that's twisted around. And it was cherry. And she said, well, that's interesting, because I just had a discussion with, I can't remember who it was, with somebody in her house about lollipops and how they're good when you have a sore throat. And I said, well, that shows you that that your son was aware of that discussion. I love when they do that for us from across the veil. But she said the kind of lollipops we were talking about weren't shaped like you described. I said, no worries, that's how he showed it to me. Well, believe it or not, when she stood up to leave the room she was in doing the reading, we were using Zoom. She looked down and she'd been in, I think she was in his old room. There on the nightstand was one of those round ball lollipops wrapped in paper. She had no idea how it got there. She had no idea it had been there. And it was just, whoo, there were goosebumps again. Such a beautiful validation. Those across the veil see everything, and they see inside your mind and most especially in your heart. So beautiful validations of that. So the gift again is to just surrender to how it's supposed to go, trusting spirit, and just flow with however it goes. Beautiful.